This episode is brought to you by our patron supporters. Today's patron of the day is a Margan. Patrons get the show always ad-free and access to the extended episode with bonus content. On today's bonus episode, Jimmy and Promise and Alyssa will be answering spicy, sexy questions from Alyssa, and Jimmy's going to whine about a recent graphic artist he hired. I'm going with it. If you don't want to miss all that, go to patreon.com/calltheline. That's patreon.com/calltheline. Well, no, and then I would fade it out here. I hope I remember to edit this part out. And then we'll go with. Welcome everyone to The Line Has a Podcast. I am Jimmy Snow.
I'm Alyssa Lube.
And I'm Promise Backlund.
Are you sure? Did you get the name right?
I don't know. I don't know what my name is.
Backlund. We have to add show notes to things and be like, minor correction to the pronunciation. She said, but it would be spelled the same way both ways. She said Backlund. Oh, I let the intro loop. I'm a professional. Oh, no. She said Backlund, but it's pronounced Backlund. Is how it would appear in the notes.
My mouth has to make a weird shape to say it correctly, and I'm still saying it wrong. So
Backlund. One day you'll learn your husband's first name.
Not even gonna ever try. Yuka. That's why we have pet names.
Yuka. That's right.
What are your pet names?
We have one. It's Cadis.
Oh, right, Cadis.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I knew that.
I feel like I remember somebody asking the story behind it, and you said no, you weren't going to tell it.
Really?
Is that
I feel like you've shared the story many times.
But sometimes I say no.
I love that. And you know what? Boundaries.
I mean, I feel like you've shared that it is the name of your music, but where it originally came from, I think I once saw you doing publicly a Q&A. Maybe it was early on and you were like, that's pretty private. Is it a private thing that you then decided to share with everybody?
No, it just makes me look like an idiot. So that's why I don't like to share the story. Yuka will tell you the story instantly. So
I'll get it from him this week.
Yeah.
If you want to learn the story, go to patreon.com/calltheline.
Sure.
And we'll say it in the bonus show.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Bonus show, you're going to find out.
I will. That's fine. I can share it there.
For those watching, obviously, podcast is an audio format, and we joined it just in time to where everybody expects it in video format, too. I just want to say, no, I don't have a mullet. It looks very much like I do. And I'm not going to lie. I'm looking at it going, could I pull off a mullet?
Yes, you absolutely could.
You could.
Mullets are hot.
They're hot right now.
They're hot.
They're so hot right now.
Today is Monday. With a mullet. Sorry.
No, you're good. Today is Monday, January 20th. We're going to be talking about the inauguration, the TikTok ban, the ceasefire in Gaza, and all the other fun, totally not world-ending things that are happening. A little reminder, if you want to follow us on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to The Line as a podcast. It is separate from the channel The Line, for which we're going to try and put on The Line some episodes where we can, but there's other stuff going out over there. We can't just be, tomorrow's Skep Talk. We can't be putting the Monday, or today is Monday. Today is Monday. It is Skep Talk. That's the thing. We're not recording in advance. We recorded it at 3 a.m. That's why you had it by 5 a.m.
Obviously.
That's what actually happened. We can't be messing with their notifications. So you're going to want to go over to The Line as a podcast to make sure you have it. And we're definitely also trying to just build that channel up so that we can get paid to do this. Otherwise, I have to go back to my other job. And you all know what that other job was. And if you don't, follow us on patreon.com/calltheline. We'll tell you in the bonus show.
Nice.
I almost don't know where to start, so I just put things in a specific order. I like that our inaugural podcast is on Inauguration Day, except for that it's the worst inauguration day there's been.
Yeah.
So far.
I can't believe that it's actually tomorrow. It feels like similar to
Today.
Oh, yeah, it's today. Similar to the TikTok ban, I felt like I was just ignoring that it was happening. And now that we're here, it just still doesn't feel... It doesn't feel real.
Let's start with the TikTok ban, because I also, with that and the ceasefire in Gaza, one of the things I want to talk about is whose fault are both? Who's actually responsible for both? Because everybody it's going wild. But for those who aren't in the loop, though I feel like pretty much everyone is, on Sunday, TikTok went down, as well as a couple of other services like CapCut and a very popular game called Marvel Snap.
It actually went down on Saturday.
It was Saturday night. It was like 8:30
It was Saturday night at
Eastern
8:30. Yep.
Oh, I didn't even hear about it until today.
I was sitting there
yesterday,
not able to get into my account, and then, the little thing popped up.
Mm-hmm.
which we're definitely going to talk about the little thing.
Yeah.
I'll just read it. This was the little thing that popped up. A law banning TikTok has been enacted in the U.S. Unfortunately, that means you can't use TikTok for now. We are fortunate that President Trump has indicated that he will work with us on a solution to reinstate TikTok once he takes office. Please stay tuned.
That was so gross.
Propaganda.
So gross.
Can I read also what just popped up when I was able to get back into TikTok?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Definitely read it.
Okay, so I just screenshotted. Is that how you say that? Screenshotted this. Yeah. Welcome back. Thanks for your patience and support. As a result of President Trump's efforts, TikTok is back in the U.S. with an exclamation point. You can continue to create, share, and discover all the things you love on TikTok.
It's insane.
I just want to point out, he
Yeah.
loves to put his name on shit. When he did the checks during COVID, he wanted to make sure his name was on that. When he builds a building, he wants to put his name on it. He puts his name on everything. It's wild. Even this, he somehow got to put his name on it.
Well, they did it. I mean, they did it to him. And some of that will come up when we talk about the inauguration, but it is pure ass kissing. And do you all remember
propaganda.
his first term? They did like a meeting where they broadcasted like the beginning of the meeting, and it was all of his cabinet. The VP was there, and they go around the table, and everyone like starts it off with just like, I want to first start by thanking President Trump for his incredible leadership. It's truly
insane.
You have brought us to that. Like, that is what they do in these autocratic states. This is what Kim Jong-un does. Like, we just want to talk about even the phrasing of it, where it was like, we are very fortunate.
Yeah.
That was so, it just sounded so North Korean to me. It was gross.
It felt not good, all of that playing out. There was one that went out that didn't have that. Like, it changed for me.
Really?
Like, yeah. And so that was also weird. I don't know. The whole thing was so eerie. It was such a good example of just like real time watching everything just reveal itself for exactly what it is.
And it moved so fast. They moved so fast on it. And I almost think that I think they wanted, because technically they knew days ago that this was the case, that that Biden wasn't going to enforce it and that Trump was saying he didn't want to. They knew days ago.
It was a stunt.
I think they wanted to cause the panic amongst a bunch of people. China knows that controlling Trump is easy if you just flatter him and stuff. And so they wanted the panic. And then they even want to sort of suck up to Trump by going like, we just gave you credit for bringing it all back. But at the end of the day, so far, China and TikTok have not done any like negotiating on this. I know I've heard somebody else talking about this, so I don't want to take full credit for it, but I've been thinking about how many of these steps are like, we're going to ban unless you do this, unless you do this. These are all the steps you have to go through. And they've just been like, no, we're just going to do none of it because your citizens will riot. They're not moving on any of it, which makes what we'll talk about in a second, Donald Trump's apparent solution, very silly because I don't see this happening either, but we'll see how that plays out. What were you going to say, Alyssa?
I was going to say, I don't really understand because I feel like I heard so much. Like, so Biden wasn't going to enforce this anyway, allegedly, which I don't really know that could have been something where Biden alone says he's not going to enforce it, so it wouldn't have mattered. Yeah. But that was the case as of like Friday or something. He confirmed that he wasn't going to enforce it anyway. So then why even that like brief? It was like 12 hours maybe that we didn't have access to TikTok. Maybe 18 hours. Like so, and then to have it come back with a message like that. But I'm also confused because people have been saying that the United States is only 10% of the user base on TikTok. I understand that like for TikTok Shop and stuff like that, we bring a lot of money to the platform, but I'm confused about why TikTok would be so compliant in sucking Trump's beehole. Like why?
I think that this is the beginning of the diplomatic relationship, and they know that if you flatter this guy and you work with him, they definitely don't like the tariffs. And so I think that they're thinking this is a big thing where they get to come and say, look at what we did for you. Look at how great we made you look. Look at how we're capitulating. Look how that we are just sucking your beehole. Because think about the other people who are sucking we're going to talk about it a lot more with the inauguration part, but that are sucking his beehole right now. Like you have people like Mark Zuckerberg, who is so rich. Mm-hmm. And when you are that rich, you don't have to suck up to anybody. But look at him. He's either has actually become a MAGA moron or he's at least pretending to be for the guy. And there's a whole lot of like, why was this starting to happen before the election and stuff? Why was Bezos stopping the Washington Post from endorsing Harris, even though they've had done endorsements prior? Because it doesn't make a ton of sense when you think about how rich they are, but you think about the fact that they have to increase the values of their company and that Donald Trump would have caused those problems. And basically what it is what Bernie's been calling for years, what Biden mentioned in his speech. We are solidifying oligarchy. Yep. And that it is now Donald Trump is the head of these merry band of incels, would be incels, except for that they can pay for it. And that's where we're at. We're stuck with what is pure oligarchy and pure, also like it's fascistic oligarchy, because it is Donald Trump is deciding who the winners and losers are.
Right.
Right.
It's awful.
I think we forget too about the interpersonal dynamics that are at play here. It's not, I mean, it is companies and all of that, but there are also a bunch of boys like hanging out and having these, we know circles are so small and when you get into different worlds, the billionaire circle is the smallest one, and them all getting together, that's already, it's like their own little club. So there's also this dynamic of just individuals, having a good time together and connecting, and let's make some deals, and I think that's at the root of a lot of oligarchies. And I think that's what we're seeing here too.
And if you take all of them and you put them in a room and you group them together, they have one regular sized dick when you combine them all together. Like it's
a little boys club. It's literally like, it always is so funny because I feel like men want to impress men more than they want to impress women. Women want to impress women more than they want to impress men.
Yeah.
Like we're so much more interested in getting approval and validation from our own people that we identify with and like want to like be in the club. And it's just so like to see that happen on a level of someone whose job is supposed to be a public servant is just so fucking pathetic.
And now they're making them heads of departments now.
Right, exactly. It's just so like we've lost the plot. We've lost the purpose of these people. At no point has anyone. It's also, I remember in the congressional hearing, someone had said that the purpose of them banning TikTok is because it was creating distrust in the government within the American people, which is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. Like, are you actually the dumbest person alive? Or do you really think the whole country is full of the dumbest people in which? Not no.
Could be.
Not no.
I think it did help Trump get elected in a lot of ways, though. And that's why we saw that flip-flop, because it really shifted to being a helpful tool for the Trump campaign. And, I can't remember. I wish I could find the statistic. Maybe I can find it somewhere. But about the kind of content that gets pushed out the most, it's significantly more right-wing.
Really?
It's tilted more towards that.
So I saw that for the first time, like yesterday, where someone who I follow, who she works in government. I can't remember what exactly she does, but she creates really great content. And she said something about like, the TikTok ban's not all bad because liberal content is severely dinged in the algorithm. And it's one of those moments where, promise, I know that you do stuff to sort of like circumvent this, but my For You page was so for me that I didn't really see as much of the conservative content. So I didn't even know that much was really like from the way that my For You page was, you could have told me that TikTok was like just full of liberal people and it had a liberal bias. And I'd be like, that feels right. Because I literally never see it.
The algorithm's the algorithm, but the question is how hard and how often does it take a person through their algorithm? Does it slowly take them from wherever they are to some sort of right-wing bullshit?
Right.
The funny thing is too, I wouldn't have hesitated to be just as shitty if they had been like, fortunately, President Harris has given us the opportunity. I'd be like, the fuck is this gross shit? Like,
it would be weird no matter what.
Yeah. And aren't we supposed to be, I mean, not like the Democrats are my party, but aren't we supposed to be the party that isn't a cult? But right now it's unfortunate that during his first term, we could all sit back and go like, even some people on the right, like, okay, he's president. That's where we are. But at least most people aren't in his cult. And now it's the big people. I keep thinking of Vivek Ramaswamy's speech. I think it was at the RNC, but it might have been before that. He's like, you want to be a rebel? You want to be the guy who goes against the grain? Show up to your college campus and say, I'm a conservative. And now it's literally just like, so first of all, that's already so ironic. Conservatism is about not rebelling against, thousands of years of Christian tradition. Like, you want to be a rebel? Go announce that you're going to conform. But also, even whatever point you were trying to make, totally lost now because you've got the Joe Rogan, you've got the Elon Musk, you've got these fucking weird white men. And
also, I have a very, very, very few minority of people in my Instagram following who are Trumpy, but mostly quiet about it. And every now and then it shines through the cracks. And today I saw one person share something that was about TikTok coming back, and was whatever the post was that they shared was kind of thanking Trump essentially. And I saw that and I was like, for anyone who saw what that message was, what the pop-up was in TikTok, and thought, yes, thank God, President Trump. And this is normal that this is in the pop-up that's coming up on this app that's internationally owned. And we had this app taken, they made such a big deal out of it, and then it was taken away for 16 hours. Thank you, President Trump. This is so normal. You're a fucking nerd. You're a loser. You're a loser. How are you not seeing through this? Speaking of beeholes, you are sucking that man's beehole so hard you can't see fucking past his gut. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Where did the origin of a TikTok ban, what was the origin of the idea of the TikTok ban? That's what I'm saying.
In August of 2020.
Yeah, my favorite thing, I posted yesterday the screenshot that says, we're fortunate that President Trump has indicated he'll work with us. And I posted that, and then I posted the screenshot from August 2020. Trump signs executive order that will effectively ban use of TikTok in the U.S. It's just do we already forget where this started? I understand a lot has happened between now and then, but we already completely forgot who brought up this idea to begin with.
He literally created a problem for the purpose of solving it.
But you know what?
Very Christian of him.
As we're talking about it, though, I'm realizing we may have the answer to why they did it this way. Because you know what we're not talking about? We're only talking about Trump getting credit. Trump this, Trump that, Trump this, Trump that, TikTok ban. You know what no one's talking about today? Is the TikTok ban a good idea or not? No one is. Should we ban TikTok? Is there actually a privacy thing we need to worry about? My position has basically been, they basically have told us that the good evidence for why we should is hidden behind it's classified, but we in Congress have seen it. But it was an 80% to 20% vote. It was both sides, if you will, did agree on this. And so we're not having the conversations about, does it violate free speech, which I don't think it does, but I think it has the potential to do, because it's the government specifically trying to censor it and stuff. But if it is in the best interest of the people because they are being spied on, for example, then that has the potential. And they did give a method by which the TikTok could still stay around. And we're going to talk about Trump's here in a minute, but it is interesting that we aren't talking at all now about, it's basically the conversation about should we do it is done. Now it's, of course we shouldn't have. Trump. How is Trump going to undo it? And we're skipping actually that conversation because I don't think we ever had a clear answer, a clear conversation about it.
In my opinion, I do think it would be a violation of the First Amendment to ban it. And I think that's why he had to make that switch, because it goes against so much of the messaging that he's been relying on. And I'm wondering if he got convinced of this from, his billionaire buddies who want an opportunity at buying it, and they're hoping that this can be a way to get that to be forced, when TikTok was pretty adamant about not wanting to be purchased at all. And maybe now this is the way that works out for all of them. Who knows? Also, maybe his teenage son was like, I want TikTok to stay. Yeah. We'll never know exactly what happened.
technically, if the justification is misinformation, then yes, that would be a violation of the First Amendment. But if the actual justification, if the things behind these doors are things like, look, they get TikTok on your phone, now they have access to all of your photos, whether you want them to or not. Now they have access. You can think of a situation where they could actually spy on you to some level that it would be appropriate for the government to say, we're taking down that app or telling you.
They don't need TikTok to do that to us. Like, we know that. They don't need TikTok.
They've never cared about any other app ever before.
Right. And that's why they're worried. If you could actually prove that they're worried about China and that China is doing something nefarious with it, then all I'm saying is it technically isn't incorrect to say that it could be appropriate for the government to step in. You know, Instagram is an American company, so that's why they're not coming in over spying concerns. And they like how much money they make off of Instagram because it is an American company. So they're obviously not going to. And do they care that it is leading to the suicides of children and causing eating disorders to actually absolutely explode in young girls? Of course not. So you can't say, obviously they can't really make a for the public good argument, because that's not going to fly across the board.
Yeah.
But then you have, it is possible. I mean, it is, I have no problem going, if you have reached some certain threshold and you can prove this level of spying, which seems like you should be able to do,
but
is happening from China. They say they have, but it's all confidential. That's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. It isn't, they haven't sufficiently justified it.
Right.
And when it comes to, the Supreme Court did uphold the ban and say, yeah, nope, these justifications don't violate the First Amendment. And I think that there are technically ways it doesn't, but there's a lot of hypocrisy within it. And there's a lot of supposed evidence that we just don't, as civilians, get to know apparently any of. That makes it very suspicious.
That's rough. Especially TikTok offered to house the data here. Also, 60% of it is owned by international investors. It's not even full, you know, like there's so much stuff out there, I think, that was fear mongering about it that did not feel genuine. Because I agree with you. If they can prove that and if they can say that it's, you know, a security issue, then sure. But they even tried to do that, and they still haven't been able to convince anybody other than, you know, like you said, this boogeyman that they're like, well, just trust us, bro. Like, we have information that we can't share with you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, the ban has gone into more apps have come down than just TikTok. I don't know if those ones are getting restored, if the executive order that Trump is going to. And this is the problem, too, with the executive order. So whether or not you support it, I probably don't support it, but I would love to hear the actual full evidence. But I'm probably on AOC's side. AOC was one of the 20% that didn't vote for it. And I'm guessing that as a member of Congress, and she's on different security committees, she's seen whatever this supposed evidence is. And apparently she was opposed to it, especially with just worrying about antitrust and things of that nature. So I think I am against the ban. I don't remember where I was going to go with that because I had a question and my brain is so
I hate to include this one,
now.
but Rand Paul went and created a TikTok account yesterday. I think it was Saturday or Friday. I can't remember which, out of civil disobedience to say that he feels it is what do you call it? An infringement.
Yeah, but fuck Rand Paul.
I know, of course. Of course. But I'm saying when you have AOC and Rand Paul agreeing about something, like, let's look at what they're, you know, agreeing on and try to figure out why.
Oh, but the problem. Okay, so here's the problem with the way that it is right now, supposedly being delayed. If he just somehow is activating the 90-day delay or whatever, and then they're actually still going to hold it to it, that would be one thing. So whether you're for it or not, the thing we cannot be for is setting a precedent that a law passed by Congress, verified by the Supreme Court, two branches of government, can be overturned by a president via executive order. Now, technically, the president is able to veto things when he is in office, and then the Congress has the ability to overturn that veto. But if somehow we're saying that an executive order, he can basically use an executive order to overturn a law, which executive orders can't be overturned by Congress. They can't do the same thing. That is extending an amount of power now to the presidency that is very emperor-like, very king-like. Now, Donald Trump has come along with his solution. This is the way I'm going to skip it, but he posted this longer thing on Truth Social and he's presenting it like here's my brilliant idea. It's a beautiful idea. My initial thought, I would like the United States to have a 50% ownership position in a joint venture. By doing this, we save TikTok, keep it in good hands and allow it to he wrote stay up, but he meant stay up. Without U.S. approval, there is no TikTok. Without our approval, it is worth hundreds of billions. With our approval, it's worth hundreds of billions of dollars, maybe trillions. Therefore, my initial thought is a joint venture between the current owners and or new owners by where the U.S. gets a 50% ownership in a joint venture set up between the U.S. and whichever purchase we choose. I think he means purchaser, which isn't going to be the U.S. government anyway. It sounds like now he is, as we were talking about with the oligarchy, going, what we're going to do is a joint venture where 50% of the company is owned by Americans, but it's going to be a couple of Americans. We're not talking about like a public trust or anything like that where everybody can invest in. We're not saying the taxpayers are going to buy it and you'll have a taxpayer sharehold and you can actually maybe make money off of the government for once, as that everybody gets a piece of it for being an American citizen.
Yeah, it's
no kind of
worse.
Beautiful socialist thing. It's going to be I mean, look at today. Meta is suddenly creating there's TikTok accounts are popping up on Meta where it's like, here's TikTok's official Meta account. They're starting to work together, despite the fact that before the ban was even talked about, they were stonewalling because this oligarchy is getting the power is centralizing more to this very small group of assholes and unwashed legs. I assume they don't wash their legs in the shower.
That's so funny. I'm glad you said that because I was starting to get like very doomy over here just listening to this. It's like really stressful. It's so stressful and so upsetting, and it makes me feel claustrophobic to listen to.
And later today is going to be the most stressful, like the beginning of it'll be the most stressful Monday until the following Monday. It's going to be,
who knows what's going to happen between now and then.
4 years of dog shit. If power overturns in 2 years, suddenly you'll see some of these billionaires go, look, guys, I was always a little bit on both sides. I don't know if you've seen that. I think he's coerced them, but Meta's, whatever Zuck is there now, he's not the CEO, whatever he does there now, he is having, it would appear, women from Meta go on their different Meta accounts and basically like what Mark meant with his masculine energy thing was just at fights, not at Meta. We should be embracing, like we should enjoy watching UFC fights in those displays. He wasn't saying that Meta needs to get more masculine. It's like, I saw the interview. Don't freaking, what's the quote from Superman?
Also, he's a grown man who's been in the press for how many years? And he misspoke. You're trying to sell to me that a man who's been media trained for 15 years misspoke like that? Fuck off.
He literally created the ways people broadcast their communications to everybody, and yet.
Right.
I do want to point out another funny thing that's completely unrelated
dumb hair.
But also he's talking about like hunting and like clearly like trying to like bro out with Rogan about this. And Rogan he's saying that he likes bow hunting. And so then Joe Rogan asks him, so like, oh, cool, like what bow do you use? And he's like, oh, I actually was a bit ago that I did it, so I don't really remember. And he was like, do you remember the brand or any, like, not, he was like, no, I don't remember, like, I had somebody come in and train me. He's like, oh, who was it? And he's like, oh, well, it was the boys or whatever. It was just so funny to watch him, even in that conversation, just squirrel around, I'm
just here smoking some meats. Y'all remember the meats? Anybody remember the meats video?
Yes, yeah. That he hunted with his bow hunt or his bow hunting that he doesn't even know what it's.
Fragile masculinity strikes again.
Yep. All right. So the last question I have, and then we'll briefly talk about, before we'll take a quick ad break, we'll briefly talk about the ceasefire as well, because honestly, that's the thing we just have to wait to develop to see. But who is actually responsible for the TikTok ban? Biden, Trump, Congress. And I mean, obviously it's all of the above, but I just think it's funny that everybody is forgetting that it originated with Trump, that Trump was the first cheerleader. executive order first day, we're going to be doing some things to cancel. We don't like cancel culture, but we're going to be canceling.
We're going to cancel everything.
We're going to cancel TikTok. You're going to be talking and you're going to be ticking because it is too TikToxic. That's what I call it. TikToxic.
TikToxic.
I invented that a long time ago, but I just like to riff into nonsense when I'm doing my Trump impression.
I love it. I'm here for it.
Toxic, which you'd think means I'd love it because I'm such a toxic husband. But frankly, I am a toxic a lot of things. Oh
my God.
Sometimes I disturb myself with it.
Yeah, I bet.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to be having a visit from my loved person this very soon, and I intend to bring that out in the bedroom. Frankly,
my God, don't do that.
I'm pretty impressed, but it would be better.
You're going to dry her up so fast.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I'm tired. It's like when you don't want to admit you don't want to lie and say you have a headache.
Oh my God.
Sure, if you want to come on over here, then we could make some things happen. I could stimulate your economy by passing a 20% tariff on that ass.
Bad.
Passing a 20% tariff on that ass is great.
You're like, actually, it might work. Maybe it was a turnaround.
Oh, God. It would have to be so clear that you were kidding. It would have to be so painfully clear.
But speaking of Trump and ridiculous things, people now wanting to figure out who gets credit for the ceasefire. And listen, I know I've seen the news. I've seen, the people over there in their propaganda rags that are conservative, they're saying that Trump put on the pressure and his negotiators were there and that was a big thing. And look, is there probably some truth to that? The Trump team added to the negotiation power and that helped a little. Yes. But I'll tell you why I know that Donald Trump isn't actually the one who got credit for this, because we do know that Trump definitely shut down. This was reporting from last year, shut down that anything would happen because he was worried that if a ceasefire went into effect before the election, that would help Biden. So Bibi Netanyahu was not doing anything to help Biden before Trump got elected. The fact that it was announced and going into effect before Inauguration Day, when it would have only had to wait days, is how I know Trump is not responsible, because I guarantee you he asked for it to not go into effect until today or the day after. I make it the first thing that we are doing, the first thing. And it is also the fact that he has to fight for credit at all usually tells you that it wasn't his, because he just is a fucking liar. The guy will take credit for absolutely everything except for things that go bad that are his fault. So, of course, people are going to say, and by the way, they're like, Trump's negotiations did that. What negotiations are you referring to? The ceasefire is literally the same deal Biden presented last year.
Right.
It's the same one. The reason why it's going into effect now is because Biden finally got them to, and now they don't have to worry about actually holding it to it.
Yep.
And they're not going to. Like, this ceasefire deal is a joke. They have their 42-day phase, and when that thing is up, Donald Trump has only broadcasted that he wants to arm them with the ability to destroy Gaza and finish the job, as it were. Why would he be interested in a ceasefire when that's literally the opposite of what he is saying? So the ceasefire, yes, is going into effect. Biden gets some little victory on his way out. It's not going to actually matter. It's not going to be upheld, and the genocide will continue very shortly.
I think the only, maybe this is just me trying to grasp onto a ray of hope, but the nice thing about Trump just being so inconsistent is that he clearly can be talked in and out of things and bought and sold over and over again. And so that leaves us to having to hope that he's going to get swayed on some of these really, really serious, important issues, which is insane that we have to hope for that instead of just having somebody that we can elect and trust that has, these specific values that they're going to come through on. But
I don't see it happening, though.
I probably not. But
you're saying basically he can be bought. Who has the most buying power?
Yeah, I know. Ugh.
Not good people.
Yeah.
There's like a couple of billionaires that are mildly tolerable people that you're like, if you weren't a billionaire, you might be a good person. But because you're a billionaire, you aren't inherently. Anyway, the Mark Cubans of the world aren't going to be in there with him. And for all I know, Mark Cuban is a Zionist. I have no idea what his position is on that. Weirdly, Elon Musk isn't, which is surprising because you'd be like, bro, aren't you a product of genocide? It's like kind of weird. Anyway, we'll see what happens. We'll see who actually is the president in effect over the next 4 years, because I don't think Elon Musk's days are coming to an end. I don't know when. I'm surprised it lasts this long, but you can't have two narcissists like that. You've already seen Trump get uneasy with him at the, people are saying that he's the real president. I don't have to worry about him because he wasn't even born in this country.
And I think Elon's going to get bored too. That's what he does. Like, he does these things and he plays around and then he's going to get bored, or, so we'll see.
I don't know. Power's seductive though. This is something that I could see him taking longer on. He kept slowly improving the Teslas. I mean, he was obsessed with that for like 6-7 years before, and making up features. Like, instead of making them more crash proof, we've added a toaster. It's fucking, when he would get bored, I don't know. Plus, every time he does this, he invested so relative to how much money his value has gone up. When we think about like, wow, you really wasted $100 million, $150 million of your own money. But his personal, what is it called? He is now worth billions more. So he spent millions to add billions to his value, his personal fortune, and it's gross. It's gross, and it's our billions of dollars, people. All these billionaires have your billions of dollars, not theirs. It's yours, and we're just letting them have it, and they just go off their little thing. I haven't had a pizza roll in years, but Promise mentioned them before the show, and I keep having like flash tastes of them in my mouth.
It was a really great time.
Nice Totino's pizza roll.
That's what I was eating.
When I was in college, I would make them when I would come home drunk. And that was always like, it could go really well or really poorly because those are like little lava pockets. So when you heat them up, the whole inside is so fucking hot. So you have to bite a corner and blow on the inside. Otherwise, you take a bite and it just like burns your whole face.
There is a method.
There's a method.
I think that's the place to go ahead and send ourselves to break. We'll be right back.
This episode is brought to you by the amazing people on patreon.com/calltheline, where you can get the show ad-free and you get the extended episodes when we do a bonus show, which is most of the time. Head over to patreon.com/calltheline and sign up today.
All right, we are back, and we're going to talk about today's, I suppose, big event, overshadowed a little bit by what was a much better event. Let's just pretend that the best thing about today, or the only thing about today, is that it is MLK Jr. Day.
I don't think we have to pretend that. Yeah, I fully agree.
That's the only thing. It's almost no one's going to talk about it. It is MLK Jr. Day, which is ironic since we're also spending this day sending the country back to a time before the civil rights movement, clearly. And you also have awful states like, I'm trying to remember which ones it was, Alabama and Mississippi will be also honoring today. I'm not kidding. This is not a joke. It is Robert E. Lee Day.
Get the fuck out of here.
I am not joking. Alabama and Mississippi will be honoring Robert E. Lee.
Of course, Alabama.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, chocolate mouse.
They were laying in bed after a very sexual and romantic evening with their sisters, and were like, do you think this would be a good idea? And she was like, I don't know. You put a bill in front of me, and I don't know how to read.
God.
It's going to be a great, which one was which? Y'all don't know.
I know some amazing people from Alabama that will say that this is so deeply embarrassing. So, all right.
I've known only 2 people from Alabama personally. One was on Love Island. Nice guy, but and then the other one I went on a date with recently, and instead of saying chocolate mousse, he said chocolate mouse. So I'm not really feeling
this episode is not boding well for Alabamians. Half of my family's from Alabama too. So
okay, well,
I'm going to order the chocolate mouse.
They created you, so they must be lovely.
And you're wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks,
look,
everybody.
I know a lot of people are like,
thanks for the validation. No.
Oh, like. It's dangerous because, it can cause genetic abnormalities, but you seem to have turned out great.
Oh my God.
That, ladies and gentlemen, was, and non-binary pals, that was an incest joke. All right. Moving on. Listen, I'm extremely British, so I am no one to throw stones here. I purposefully do not try to find out how related my parents are, but it's a single, I think it's a single digit number before the word cousin.
No.
I think it
That's
must be.
exciting.
Yeah. I mean, fifth
That's
cousins are,
exciting.
it wouldn't be crazy, but hey, it's
And
gotta
here
be.
you are.
And just the stories don't add up. Oh, she came over from England and just happened to be staying with your parents. Like, yeah, the way you stay with family. Right? Like you come across on the boat, and well, I think they came by plane. I actually don't know. I've never asked, and I don't care. I don't care to. I'm not going to reestablish contact to find out the story. But anyway, they're just staying there, and it's like, yeah, when family.
For a second, I almost like forgot your entire lore, and I was like, wait, his parents are still alive. Do they talk? What's happening there? That was a crazy brain fart to have. And also goes to show how far our friendship has gone because my previous context of you is like you in the context of ex-Mormonism and like leaving and whatever. And now my context of you is Jimmy, my friend. And I literally had to think about like, wait, I know about his family. What's the deal there again?
What is going on?
Crazy.
New York dad, British mother.
Yeah.
It's the best stuff.
That's
anyway,
why you say your tea's weird.
Correctly is what you mean. Actually, not even correctly. It's why I say my T's.
Right.
It's not weird. It's that the weird thing is that I say them. Anyway, let's talk more about the ICOC ban. Fucking Americans. Today's
the ICOC ban.
The ICOC ban. Today is Inauguration Day.
The inauguration. Go ahead.
Go on. No, after you.
I was just going to say, how are we feeling about all of the performers that have been announced for today? Also, are you guys going to watch the inauguration?
I don't think I can. I don't think I can stomach it. I'll be so honest.
I am going to watch
because
I'm excited to see the way they they're grouping apparently all those CEOs together, even though Elon Musk has spent the last year shit talk, threatened to fight Zuckerberg, and they supposedly were going to do it. We never got that, which I feel like they owe us now. I don't care if they have injuries. We are owed it. I don't care if Elon Musk might break his weird box turtle shaped torso. That shit's weird too, by the way. Yeah. What is happening anatomically there?
I don't know. I did see an ICOC about how the way that the Cybertruck was like the silhouette of it is just Elon Musk's body on like a different angle, and it's so those are the moments where I'm like, the clock app, that's hilarious. Anyway,
what was your question, Promise? About it?
Oh, I was just asking. Well, first I asked if you guys are going to watch it. And I was curious, what are you guys thinking about the performers that have been announced? Because I'm seeing some people shocked at some. There's one that I'm shocked about.
Snoop?
Only one.
Is it Snoop? I'm pretty.
Nope.
I was shocked at Snoop.
I'm not shocked about any of those. And I'm certainly not shocked about Carrie Underwood.
Okay.
Here's the thing. Whoever it is, they are taking a wild gamble because 8 years ago, only a few people performed and then one of them died. And because they performed there, it wasn't huge news. Do you remember which artist who performed at the inauguration 8 years ago?
No, I don't remember at all.
The lead singer of Smash Mouth. You might have forgotten that he died. But when he died, it was like such a whatever.
Right.
Okay, sorry.
Right.
Might as well be walking on the sun.
None of that surprised me. The one that surprised me, and maybe this is just I'm like out of touch with this artist and what they're up to, Gavin DeGraw.
Oh.
Now, DeGraw sounds like a country singer. Is that correct?
No. Gavin DeGraw did that song that's like, I don't want to be anything other than what I've been trying to be.
And that's not country?
It's not.
No.
Did you ever watch One Tree Hill?
You sound twangy when you sing it.
One Tree Hill.
Yeah,
One Tree Hill.
I don't want to be anything other than
That's
what
good.
I've
That's
been
actually
trying to
has-
be lately.
but
He
it's
does
not.
have a twang. He does have a twang that I didn't really
definitely
realize
not.
until now. But he's definitely not country. He's like, yeah, wow. Okay, and on the note of country, I don't
know. He's being a bit of a country.
That was a reach.
I just wanted to throw that in. It was bad.
Okay. I do want to say,
cancel me.
also, for like air out how fucking annoying it is that there are so many people who love country around me and want to convince me to like country. And I say to them all the time, I understand that like a lot of the words are really lovely. And then those same people vote against my rights. So they're going to sing about how these women are so beautiful and they love them so much. And then vote against their rights. So this is a moment again, fucking Carrie goddamn Underwood. I'm not surprised that she's doing it. And this is, if they would stop proving me right, then I wouldn't have to be a relentless hater. Unfortunately, they continue to prove me right. So this is not a fight that I feel I'm losing. This is one I get to be self-righteous about because they continue to do this. And it's just...
On the like local level or smaller level, it is funny that there's a lot of like leftists and very lefty people who are now taking possession of country in a way that I think is going to ooze upward. Yeah, no, I think that's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
I just want to take everything. I mean, they apparently took Snoop from us. Let's take their country music. We already took their rainbows. We're coming for your music next.
Oh my God.
That rainbow is a promise from God. It is not to be... Goodness. I think I just accidentally flashed that I'm wearing pajama pants under my sports coat.
Yes. I'm wearing sweatpants right here.
I'm laying in my bed. I was saying to them before that I do chewed gum and now the podcast. I do like all of this kind of stuff from my bed. And today we started and I was also finishing dinner and I was like, this literally, I feel like I'm in an episode of My 600-Pound Life, which I used to watch all the time, by the way. And I'm like working too much from my bed. So I'm going to have an official setup at some point. Anyway, that was a tangent. Continuing on Inauguration Day.
I'm disappointed that all the presidents are showing up. I think Michelle Obama's kind of a badass for not showing up.
Love her so much. Also, I saw people talking shit about her decision to not go, which is crazy because let's talk about who didn't go to the last inauguration. A fucking former president. The first one. Wasn't he the first one not to attend?
The thing is, I've definitely already complained about it. So I'm going, what I'm about to say, I am also guilty of. The reason they do it is because then we talk about it. They know this. Like, you think Fox News doesn't know that they're going to be sound hypocritical when they call out? And of course, they're going to have their dumb reasons but this was this was legitimate, and wasn't even the one who lost, or blah blah blah. Like, I'm
talking about people I know in real life have complained about this. Yeah,
Fox and Friends did a big thing.
I'm not
Hannity
watching them ever, but
the way that I also, when you were like, let's talk about it, and I was like, let's talk about it, it reminded me of in White Chicks, where you're like, you want to talk about mothers. That's what it just reminded me of. Anyway, sorry.
That's okay.
I think I'm getting tired, and now I'm sort of getting like the slap happy things are just happening in my brain. I might need to
because you're having such an early morning right now.
Exactly.
And so it's like it's catching up
because I'm exhausted from it being Monday, January 20th.
Yes, it was such a late night and then so quick before we had to wake up and record this so early in the morning. That's why we're wearing yesterday's clothes.
Obviously.
They apparently, though, the presidents aren't going to the usual lunch that you would go to after. So I guess that's something. It's funny because I actually feel a little conflicted about people were pretty upset that Obama was so nice to Trump at Carter's funeral, that they were seeming to be sitting next to each other, yucking it up. And that but somehow I imagine that he volunteered for that spot, that everybody else was like, and I just feel like he had this moment of like, are you kidding me? I'm not scared of that pussy.
Yes.
Like, I really think he was just sitting there going like, let me be clear. He's got kind of a bit of, come on over. That was too Southern. He's from Chicago.
Yeah,
let me be clear. I'm not scared of that pussy. There we go. That's better. That's closer.
First of all, okay, I think part of it is also like people of color in this country and many other places around the world are not, they are, I think, used to having to take the high road because people are so willing to demonize them. And I think that for Obama, it's going to be a similar thing where, like, if he's going to be in a room, people are going to want to talk shit about him and Trump and their interaction and whatever. And I think it's kind of like I say this to my friends too about, like when you know someone that you hate is in the same room as you, don't give them more to talk about. like, you don't have to be like super nice to them, but also don't give them a reason to turn back to their friends and say something. And I think that Obama is like a fucking master at stuff like that, because I'm sure he's had years and years and years of practice in that way. But I mean, he has had years and years and years of practice. He made sure that people didn't have shit to say.
I think there's also just an element of like, I just said he had a small dick. I said it at a speech. You remember when he did his hands thing? Where he was
funny.
like,
yeah,
like it's obsessed with crowd sizes. I don't know why it is. And
hilarious. Then it's so good.
And puts his hand down.
I love him. So funny.
So, yeah, at a certain point, you almost think, and maybe there is some level of, look, now if I pretend to buddy up to him, because if you remember, there was a short period of time during his first term where he suddenly started trying to work with Nancy and Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, because they were like coming up and being like, oh, we want to do this bill. And if you pass this, you're going to be so great. We'd love to do it together. And they're just nice to him. And then the Republicans like had to send people to remind him that these were his enemies because they were being nice. And so he was going to do it. And there's that audio where he's like, well, you know, Nancy wants to do the bill, so I think we can find a way to like, and it maybe it's that, I don't know. Maybe he's thinking, look, if I can be allowed to call this guy and just ask him like, what do you try? I'm not going to keep doing the impression because Promise is going to keep roasting me for it. You know, I can't do all of them perfectly. I can't do them all great, but I'll just stick to just let me be clear. That part's fine.
Solid.
That's pretty good.
Stick with that. Don't.
Yeah.
That's it.
I can do all of them. I'm serious, not a joke.
That one's getting better. That one's getting a lot better.
That one's good. I'm just kind of bringing it down to a whisper.
I'm just imagining
my
you
dad
like
told me
in the shower doing this alone.
Yes, that is correct. That is where I do practice most of my, because strategery. And I did not have sex with this podcast.
Nice. That's a good
true.
little clip.
That was a good clip. Yeah.
Put it everywhere.
Put it everywhere.
I would love
you should put it on the front of all songs that go on LimeWire.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Do you guys remember when that was the thing?
That would be so good.
That's amazing. You should put that in the front of all the songs that go on LimeWire. That's so funny.
Realistically, think how relieved I am, since I do try to learn how to do something with all the presidents, that we haven't had a female president, because I can't do impressions of women. So thank goodness for me.
Yeah.
That
so
it's
happy.
all been men still.
Really happy for you, Jimmy.
Yeah, that's good.
I can keep going back. I can do him. I can do George Senior. That's pretty much his. Is sort of everybody can do it. You just do your impression of the guy from Saturday Night Live.
I'll be honest.
Billions of rays of light. Oh, wow. That last one was very good. Well, that's my entire impression of Reagan. Well, anyway, those are presidents before you all were born.
We're the same age.
I was going to say, what are you talking about?
It was before I was born too.
Right.
Wow.
I mean, Bush Senior. I guess I got to kick it with Senior till I was 2 years old, but that wasn't much of anything. Then I just got to hear about Reagan for my whole fucking childhood. Shut the fuck up, Dad. I get it. You like Fox News. Christ, he's the Messiah. Meanwhile, Trump, I guess, gets to be the new Reagan, which is fun because he will also destroy the economy and take wealth out of the middle class, just like Reagan did. But it'll be on a delay, because that's the fucking brilliant thing they do. They do these things with taxes and empower billionaires in a way that take full effect just in time for the fuckers after them to have to solve it, which they end up doing. But afterwards, you have larger disproportionate wealth inequality. Anyway, the presidents won't be there. Also, it's really funny that Texas, and I know other southern states have announced it as well, are going to be restoring their flags from half-mast to full-mast early, to no longer, you're supposed to do a month when a president dies. They are not going to continue their honoring of Carter. Clearly, were this the reverse, were it that George W. Bush died and the Democratic states were like, yeah, but we're going to go ahead and go up for the inauguration, they would be losing their shit because they're fucking flags and they don't matter. So on the one hand, I'm also saying all of these symbols are stupid. I actually thought the funeral was stupid. It looked quite culty. I think seeing military people do special dances and routines to carry the coffin places, it all looks so fucking culty. I know, they practiced. They got together and they put in their little costumes.
Oh my God. Yeah,
I love
but
calling
still,
military
because that
uniforms
is
costumes.
because these are like traditions that we do, that we've set a precedence for doing,
It's
and
gross.
now you want to go back on this one.
Right.
Also, I don't even know if
And
I should say
that's
this,
why.
but I'm going to say it. My own father is, and I will clarify that I'm not sure if this was edited or if that's what he was actually trying to say, and I should ask him, but he's gone a bit viral for being on some kind of live stream saying something about how I can't tell if that's what he was trying to say, but what it's been interpreted as is that Jimmy Carter has been dead and they just waited to announce it. This is a theory that some people on the right are going with. They just waited to announce it just so that they can fly the flags at half mast as a fuck you to Donald Trump, which if you really play that out logically, that's like actually wild. But but there's people believing that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they literally believe in magic, these people. So
Right.
it's like, what do you do with people who believe in actual literal magic?
Yeah, but this one's pretty. It's like, come on. You think
That's
2 years ago, Jimmy
US,
Carter
though.
died, and the government was like, "Let's announce it." Actually, wait, let's save
We'll keep
this
that to ourselves.
so that we can put the flags
Right.
at half mast for Trump's inauguration. And what? That's
It's
crazy.
also
You've
it's also
convinced
like
me.
did you guys watch New Girl?
No.
Okay.
I
well,
did a
basically,
long
it just
time
feels
ago.
like it feels like there's a whole thing about Winston and pranks that are either too small or too big, and this feels like one of those things where it's like that is such a massive thing to keep a secret for 2 fucking years, to have the smallest, babiest, lamest impact ever, which is having flags be at half mast. Like, that's the big fuck you.
Because no one cares. Literally
That's-
no one. When you see a flag at half mast, you just go, I recall that means something.
Right. I literally, you know what I do when I see a flag going at half mast? I go like this, and then I move about my day. I
Yeah.
literally don't even think about it. I don't
I
think
think
about
I
it.
usually assume that it like naturally just came down and has been stuck there.
Right,
Well,
exactly.
to me, it's funny. I think it's worse at this point because I wouldn't have thought about it that much. But now that they've made a big deal, who was it? Didn't Mike Johnson demand that they be raised or something? Like they decided that they will be. And it's like, oh, you guys are that bothered by imagery? Because of course they are, because they're running off of propaganda now. So they cannot have pictures of Donald Trump getting inaugurated with flags at half mast because that's going to mess up his image, which is what so much of everything about him is based off of, these pictures of him and how he comes off to everybody else.
The only way it being half mast could look more accurate under Donald Trump's inauguration is if they were all also on fire, which I'd be fine with because they're flags, people. They're fucking nothing. They're blankets.
Literally, it's my
they'd
duvet
be more
cover.
useful as blankets,
Right.
or diapers. Shit in them. Who cares? They're cloths. Y'all are fucking weird with these things. Anyway, tech CEOs Jeff Bezos is going to be there. Sat also with Musk, Zuckerberg, Sam Altman of ChatGPT, OpenAI, Xiaozi Chu, the CEO of TikTok. This ginormous threat to us that Trump was even saying years ago on the dais. Tim Cook from Apple will also be there. Sundar Pichai from Google will be there. Notably not there, nobody from Microsoft, which I guess like if you're Bill Gates, you're like, you know, I've spent the last several years being targeted by his people because they think I'm putting 5G chips in, and I probably wouldn't be going either if I was. But then again, I wouldn't be going if I was most of these people. The two of them didn't react at all because they have no idea what Bill Gates sounds like, and I could have made any noises, and they would have been like, that must be correct. So then Bill Gates was all like, hey, what are you doing over there, dude? They don't know. They don't know if that's what he
I know
sounds like.
that's not Bill Gates for fucking sure.
Anyway, Bill Gates is not going to be there. Microsoft has no representation there. Bezos, notably very recently, is agreed Amazon is paying Melania Trump $40 million for a Melania Trump documentary about returning to the White House.
Oh, boy. More propaganda we get.
$1 million.
That's
Yes,
wild.
it's
What color do we think she's going to wear tomorrow? I mean, today for the inauguration.
Oh, I got nothing. I hope she wears that I don't care, do you jacket again.
That would be great.
That'd be great. Yeah.
I think she's going to wear white.
What does that
think?
mean? What would it symbolize?
I don't know. I just think that she will.
I feel like she's gonna do red. Something
I was
like,
going to say red also.
yeah,
I see
something
red.
like bold and attention grabby, and
I think Trump will be blue suit, red tie.
yeah, I think that's his like traditional.
Because he has no
outfit.
balls. If he had balls, he'd come out in like a big yellow suit or something crazy.
Oh my God.
Just like
I also
big gangster hat.
Sometimes Melania does like a nice little like light purple something. It's unfortunate that her outfits are pretty slay. Like she looks pretty good, but also you have literally all the money and resources available to you, so you should look fucking incredible. So
Right.
Yeah,
she does.
she's a
I
model.
assume rich people don't have to die because, first of all, you want to talk about somebody who died years ago and it's a conspiracy. I've seen what Donald Trump eats. That man's not alive. He has animated cholesterol in his body, moving him like the cordyceps from the show Last of Us. I don't know.
Oh my God.
I don't know what's going on there, but there is no way that heart is pumping blood. It is pumping pure grade KFC gravy now, and he's figured out how to live off of it. It's not even a heart anymore. It's a small little gremlin that's just churning it like ice cream, and it actually makes ice cream and puts it more into his blood. That man, how is he almost 80 years old with a cholesterol that matches the temperature of the sun? Somebody please explain to me how it's not the fountain of youth because he doesn't look good, but he's got the fountain of immortal old beat up looking man who doesn't understand that there are better tanning sprays out there now.
God, what I would do to be able to send him a nice loving tan 2-hour express.
Oh my God.
Formula.
I think he only does stuff he can spray himself because he's not going to let anybody see his body. Because if you catch the neckline, it stops there. So he's going there. He's putting tanner mouse on his face. Tanning mouse. He gets a mouse. He covers it. I think this is how it works. I put the tanning solution on this mouse and I let it just go crazy on my face.
I, on a selfish note, am really happy that TikTok is back today so that we can get all the memes and videos from the inauguration because we have all the musicians that are going to be playing, and you know that Trump is going to have all these clips of his little dances. Like, he's going to pull out the Trump dance moves.
I forgot about the dances.
Here's the thing. I don't fuck with TikTok already, so it's not going to change me at all. I'll be getting them off Reddit and Instagram. Thank you. These are true friends.
The good ones.
Last thing before we get to our final ad break and final segment, where we're going to talk about some of the things that are stuck on our head. Don't forget, you want to hit the bonus show. That's going to be in the ad break anyway. But what do you all think of this line that we are hearing from everybody? Well, he's president now, so you have to get along. Got to find a way to meet in the middle and make peace with these people.
No, I don't. Fuck you. And
but you don't think like
came in on.
What about back in 2020 when they did that? When they found peace and made peace with us and accepted Biden as president and totally didn't have a fucking insurrection? Or what about they received Obama with open arms in both inaugurations, and they totally didn't have conspiracies about him not even being born here, and they didn't parade through the streets with him with a Hitler mustache or an Obama piñata being hung by gallows. Like, I don't know what. They did it, so why aren't we going to meet and get along with them?
Well, this is like how when I grew up in Christianity, and I remember, with George W. Bush, we're telling everybody you're supposed to respect your leaders, and they're quoting whatever that verse is, and we're supposed to be praying for our politicians, and he's the president. You have to respect him. And then Obama rolls in. Nope, we're no longer praying for the president anymore. This is rules for thee, not for me. I love, obviously, that's why I work for The Line. I love having conversation and discourse. I'm not against talking with people that I disagree with. But this idea of we have to get along, meaning we have to just silence ourselves and just take it and be like, oh, well, good job. You guys won. Good game. That's not how this works. It doesn't work that way at all. And if anything, I plan to speak out even more over the next 4 years. So
yeah, it's one thing to accept that he won and move on, because I think that alone, I'm confused about when so many Trump supporters will say things like, get over it, he won. I'm not saying that he didn't fucking win, you idiot. I'm saying that now, if you thought I was insufferable before, strap in. Strap in. I am about to be so much more insufferable, as will all of my friends.
Strap in. 4 years from now, I'm strapping on if you catch me.
Yeah, girl.
You guys fuck us, we're going to fuck you back.
Yeah, girl.
I'm going to give you fucking healthcare no matter how hard you say no. I'm going to force that healthcare down your fucking throat.
Healthcare.
I'm going to raise that minimum wage. Oh, you're going to be sitting there going, oh, my wages just went up. Oh, and I'm going to say, I don't fucking care. Take it. Take that wage increase, you fucking idiots. We're on your side and you aren't. You're not on your own fucking side.
Right.
You morons. We are. And Trump is such a fucking grift. MAGA, you have gotten played. Look at who his friends are now. Musk, Zuckerberg, Bezos, the people that you guys are like, we got to fight back against them, these fucking billionaires and all that. They're buddies. And do you think they're that rich and that they are coming to heel? They're richer than he is. They are in many ways more powerful than he is. They are playing him, not the other way around. They are buying influence right now. If anything, the only people they're coming to heel to a little bit is Musk. They are currently trying to just make sure Musk isn't going to fuck them having the ear of Trump. They're trying to get in between Trump's ear and Musk's crusty little lips, because the richest man in the world does not know about chapstick. He doesn't. He has always had chap lips.
Here's the thing is, it's gay to put on chapstick. That's what it is.
Yes. And he's,
so that's,
got it.
You have to, let's just be, just to be clear.
That's why he actually invented Neuralink. It's the whole thing is he wants to use he's going to send a signal for the body to medicate from the inside.
Yes.
He knows. He's like, I've got chapped lips, but I can't be perceived as gay.
No.
All right, we're headed to another break. We will be back in just a moment.
Would you like to be one of the cool people who can prove they were supporting this podcast right from the beginning? Well, you can. Head over to linemerch.com. That's linemerch.com. And pick up some Founders merch for The Line Has a Podcast that will only be available for a short time and features the rough draft drawn logo that soon will be updated to look less like it was drawn by a 3-year-old. That's linemerch.com.
All right, we are back. We're going to do a fun little segment. We'll just call this one "What's on Your Mind?" What are you thinking about? What's been happening lately, or something along those lines. But in the future, we'll probably do things like respond to voicemails, talk about things that users have submitted on Reddit. Voicemail's actually not set up yet, but you can find our subreddit to submit stories and things for us at r/The Line Podcast. So, does anybody have anything that is stuck on their mind, something that's been playing on repeat, anything they want to share?
Do you know that there's I'm just going to give some context for anyone who doesn't know me. I'm a sex and relationship coach, and so I am constantly in the cycle of sex-related things that are happening. Do you know that there is no substantial research to show that peeing after you have sex reduces your chances of a UTI? That's so interesting. Isn't that insane? It's like widely accepted, but it's anecdotal technically. Like there's no research to support that. And it is interesting too, because I've definitely dated people who are like reliably, if I don't, I will always get one. Yeah. And I get them much less often if I do. So that is interesting that they haven't measured that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's that they just
we should have
measure
figured that out by now.
Right. Yeah. I don't know if it's like so widely accepted that they were like, meh, that's like doing research on if we need air to live. It's like, do we need to research it? We know. Or if it's that they've done research and it was inconclusive, I'm not sure. That'd be interesting to find out. I know, yeah. I have to, that came through my inbox in a newsletter and I was like, what are we talking about? So that was an interesting thing that I've just been noodling about. And if you want to connect it to a larger thing, it was only in 1993 that women are required to be a part of samples in medical studies. So prior to 1993, women were not required to be a part of research in medical fields, which means all of our research that is decades and decades and decades old, likely not researched on women at all, including our research on heart attacks. So precedence kind of doesn't actually take precedence in that scenario.
Wow.
That sucks. I also I have to navigate the medical system a lot and already see how hard it is to advocate for yourself, and the realization that if you have real serious stuff to do, you actually have to solve most of your things if you want the things done quicker. Otherwise, it will either be figured out much too late or when things are much too severe, or never, apparently, is the other option. So that's fucking fun. And women I know advocating for themselves in the healthcare industry is fucking awful, and will often be dismissed with things like, oh, you probably just have heartburn, when they are actually actively having a heart attack.
It's anxiety, and they send people home.
Yeah.
My sister got a functional medicine doctor recently, and it's like changed her life. So I don't know if anyone is listening and they have like issues and they've never tried a functional medicine doctor. It's worth a googly goog. Anyway, that's my little thing. Yeah, googly goog. Yeah. Why not?
Promise, you got anything stuck in your head?
I mean, it's not the greatest news because it's back to what we've been talking about. But I posted a TikTok from my drafts the other day because I was trying to get it out, and it was, what did it say exactly? It was, the sound. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs.
They're eating the dogs.
That somebody's made to that. So it's just like that, and it says this guy is actually going to be president again, and people willingly chose it. And it's like me rolling my eyes, just like a funny little whatever. I post it. It's gotten 10,000 comments, and I have been brigaded by Trump. Like, I'm talking about large accounts, like hundreds of thousands of followers, like these Trump fanboys that have said the most unhinged things. And it's just so interesting to me because supposedly you guys won and you're happy now and everything. Like, you got, like, what the actual fuck? They've left me death threats. Of course, that happens. Like, let's see what some of them say. Oh, this one, I don't know if we call this one a death threat. Maybe you should go ahead and delete yourself. Do us a favor and take your whole family tree with you as well. Because I rolled my eyes.
Because they don't know who your family tree is.
Right, I know. And just comment after comment like that from not like, I understand the anonymous like bot troll stuff, but these are like from WWE guys and like, influencer, like MAGA influencer dudes just losing their minds, and they don't know how to just be regular humans. Like, if you're so happy, if everything worked out so well for you, why are you in my comment section right now?
Right.
I've heard a lot of people express the idea that like when we're burning in hell and they're watching from heaven, they're going to enjoy it and laugh.
Right.
And usually think like, I'll usually say to them like, I don't believe that's true.
Right.
I think you're probably a better person that you would see someone suffer and not enjoy it. But then, and yet, like, that seems to be the motivation here, where people are like, yeah, we know we won, we got what we wanted, but we actually are here to see you suffer. So we're going to try to pile on because we'd like to see you suffer more. It's wild.
Really gross. So yeah,
it
that's
also
exciting.
It cracks me up to see comments like that, because it's always like people who say disgusting things. It's always people with like Bible verses and shit in their bio.
Oh, of course, every time.
It's always, and I'm like, you got like, it's just
to love Jesus, the love your neighbor guy.
Yep.
Also,
Always.
all of these dudes are like some of, and I usually want to talk about looks, but coincidentally happen to be like the ugliest people I've ever seen. This one,
inside and
this guy
outside.
says he's got like hundreds of thousands of followers. Super excited for him to abolish all the gender ideology policies and abort all the illegals. Like, they're so full of hate that they're celebrating it. They're like so excited to just be. I
like how they can never
people.
not bring up trans stuff, where it's sort of like, you guys
That's all
have the
they
one
think
thing
about.
you only like.
Correct.
Guys, I get it. It's all the porn you watch, but like, give us a break from it. If anything, I now want a break from trans stuff because of you guys, not from trans people. I'm tired of like
it out.
Your fucking obsession. All right, for mine, can I show the two of you a video? If you're listening to the podcast, you'll be able to get the gist of it without seeing it. But I'd like to show you the two of you a video, and just get your reactions, because I'm not kidding. I saw this the week of the election, and I think about it 2 to 3 times a week. In fact, I say the phrase, they're hiding files, to my significant other constantly. I say it all the time. Almost every day I'll just randomly go, they're hiding files. Watch this.
Oh my God. Her saying that with fewer teeth than my 12-year-old Chihuahua, please.
I didn't know whether to bring up the teeth or not. And for those, again, who are listening, whatever you are imagining that woman looks like, which we're not going to spend a lot of time on, it's rude, but you're right. What the sound she made matched it. Yeah, I think about that one a lot. And I you know, what's funny is I think a lot of people are going to focus on what an unpleasant woman she is. The thing I think about way more is the guy who pops out.
And
you know what?
They're hiding.
She and Hillary Clinton are working together. They're hiding files. They're hiding files. They're hiding files.
Just
guys.
actively
it's
making
just
stuff
sad
up.
because people really like it's fun. I get it. Like it's a funny video, but also it's just really sad to me. Like these are people that have actual concerns that the rest of us have, I'm assuming, and yet have been convinced with these extravagant conspiracy theories to vote against their own best interests. It's so sad.
It's bananas.
This is also a woman talking about how another woman can't run this country. Like, how are you?
But she could.
Like, it's just
the instant hypocrisy.
But it's just like the hatred that they've created for anyone who doesn't fit into whatever little narrative they're spinning is crazy.
They're
so much so that a woman is saying another woman can't do. It's just so depressing to see.
I think about how quick he was to try and come up with a conspiracy, how quick he was to pre-embrace it was stolen, how all of that shit made up this working with Hillary Clinton. They're hiding files. Okay, great. What files? And how would that cause the election to be stolen that are hidden? And why is it that the specific thing she and Hillary are doing that with no evidence you are willing to accept, it happens to be the thing that Donald Trump also was in legal jeopardy for, literally stealing and hiding files that were highly confidential, that some of them appeared to have been taken potentially by Russians that he was having over as guests. Like literally it was like, you know what? She's working with Hillary Clinton. They're having sex with porn stars. Like it's as though it was like whatever Trump has done, we're now going to accuse. They're hiding files. They're hiding files, everybody. And that is, I think, our final note for the episode. You can check out the extended episode if you are a patron. The bonus show is on the patron version of this episode. That's over at patreon.com/calltheline. Alyssa, promise, what are your parting words for those who are going to just get this plain old normal show that's wonderful and amazing and still the best?
Hang in there. It's a Monday. It's a real Monday.
The worst Monday.
It's the worst Monday. But we'll be back next Monday. That's the good news I have for you.
Just imagine Garfield waking up and just like, it's like, because Garfield hates Mondays. I don't know.
Now I want lasagna.
I was going to get too dark.
Really nice.
I wanted lasagna for the last 6 months. I just can't have lasagna. It's so good though. I miss it so much. I miss food so much. Alyssa, what are your parting words do you have?
This Monday is terrible, but it could be worse. You could be having the Jimmy Snow diet, which is
That's true.
4 things. Actually,
it's 3.
Yeah, it's 3. But actually, similar to what Promise said, we're going to be here, and we're going to be here to be supportive and give you giggles along the way. I will say I do feel actually bad about saying something about that woman's teeth. That wasn't very nice. I just felt I felt very activated because she was talking about women and she is a woman and it just made me very upset. But anyway, moving forward, we are going to support each other through this.
I think it's fair if we add, we support, she is getting fucked by Trump. Her access to health care, including dental care, is put off by the election of Donald Trump.
That's a good way to legitimize what I was saying, which was really just me being salty. But anyways, we're all going to support each other through this. Do your best to not be complacent because it's going to continue to be important that in moments we stay angry enough to be active, and self-care breaks are important. So we'll find balance and we'll do it all together, and we'll have some little silly moments in between.
I'll save you from getting canceled by just making sure to say something slightly worse. She looked like if Mama June fucked Shrek. Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay. So if you're gonna cancel
I'll be the
anybody,
only one back on the show next time, guys, because they both cancel themselves.
thank you all.
See you guys on the flip side.
for joining. What a fun time this was. I think our outro might be a little too long. This is where we might have like a readout. Today's episode was brought to you by The Line.
I know a guy we can talk to about this for future episodes.
On The Line. Well, we actually should probably put readouts on this part. Okay, bye everybody.